Welcome to episode number 37 of Let's Play Dragon Age Inquisition. So I think we'll probably head to the Storm Coast today, but first I'd like to do some things around camp. Talked to her already. Is this the apothecary in here? What is that? Quartermaster.
Someone left sliced plums on the windowsill again. The juice is attracting flies.
There was never...
There are spiders
Oh, a
everywhere.
song.
The plums were right in front of me, but can't quite recall it.
But she was so fast and quick with her fall. No one quite knew where she came from. Sarah was never quite the quietest girl. Her attacks are loud and they're joyful. But she knew the ways of nobler men, and she knew how to enrage them. She would always like to say, why change the past when you could understay? Today she will fight to keep her way. She's a rogue and a thief, and she'll tempt your fate. She would always...
I like the songs they put in here. I wonder if all 21 of these songs are actually
Should I wait for a
recorded.
reply? Or continue with
Archery
the
contest. All challengers welcome except Varric and Bianca. Liliana to judge. That's right, she's an archer. Sorry to interrupt the song, but if you guys want to hear the whole thing without me talking over it, just YouTube the name of it.
It's a big
I'm
fortress.
sure it'll
You
come
must
up.
be efficient.
We're close enough to you. Inquisitor.
And you are?
The bartender. Cabot.
Just the bartender.
You were expecting...
We had a different bartender before.
Well, welcome to the Inquisition.
Thank you. Welcome to the tavern.
For an Inquisition, we still feel rather inquisitorial. Like, I feel like we should be more like getting our swords and punishing evildoers. See, I heard staticky again, but I feel like it's just like a static charge or something, but I don't know. I touched a metal lamp, so hopefully that got rid of it. And I listened back to the recording from the last time, and I didn't hear anything amiss, so let's ask about morale.
What's the current mood?
Scorn.
Great.
What's the word out there?
Someone requested a dragon flagon. I threw him out.
What is that?
Where did you study? I assume you're trained.
In bartending? I'm no alchemist. You mix the bottles that don't taste like nug and you pretend to listen. I suppose I trained at home, during feast days, family visits. My specialty is ale. Old Antivan recipe. The secret is ale.
You're a bit of a hard ass. Why are you here?
And if I could fight, I'd be in a helmet. If I was a mage, I'd throw fire. And probably be dead. But I can't do anything. Just like the hundreds of people who can't do anything. Who make sure the thousands who can do something, can do it. Besides, if you know a safer place than your castle, do share.
Still some camera issues here with these conversation types.
As you were.
Inquisitor.
I like the cinematic ones better, but I assume I am the one. Wasn't that from the first game?
I am the one who will live on.
It is, but I think it's sung in Elven in the first one, or something like that.
I have run through the fields of
Yeah. There's another song down there.
Of course.
I have fought
Oh, same one, never mind. And this is a wall.
True enough.
Herald's Rest. Alright, cool little place. But still want to find out. Hey, Cassandra, doing some training. Anything to say?
Something is troubling me, Inquisitor.
You don't say.
Liliana is receiving reports of mages becoming possessed. Templars going rogue. No one is dealing with these matters. I was hoping we might, before they get worse.
Oh, I did look up those codex entries on our enemies, and sure enough, the Red Templars are exactly what they sound like. Templars who've been taking the Red Lyrium to make themselves more powerful, but have been driven mad by it, just like Meredith did by the Idol. And the larger ones are just a different type of corrupted Templar. There was nothing super special about them. Sure.
We can certainly look into it. I will mark these incidents on the map as I learn of them, Inquisitor. And I would be pleased to accompany you if and when you investigate.
That must be her companion quest, I guess? I didn't get any approval for that. Oh, we already did all those.
Do you have any advice for me?
Tell that demon, what does it call itself? Cole. Tell it to leave. He may not mean harm, but that does not mean he will not harm us. Spirits are not creatures to take at face value. Be cautious with him, Inquisitor.
As long as he hurts our enemies more.
That's enough for now.
As you wish.
Alright. Okay, so we have a bunch of quests for her here. I guess the quartermaster is inside here.
He wants what? I don't know. I just bought the message.
Oh, we do need more potions.
We'll take this one back. No. No. Oh. Oh, Bells, it's you. Morris. Sir Morris, I suppose. I am serving as quartermaster for Skyhold and its arriving throngs. Stores are growing, and so long as we have fair coin to restock, you and yours will be well served.
What makes you ideal for this position? It's an important one.
Alright, sorry about that. My headset started going a little crazy there, but I think I have it fixed now. I unplugged it, plugged it back in again, and now everything seems to be okay. Also restarted the game. So let's get back to talking to Sir Morris.
Your worship.
What makes you ideal for this position? It's an important one.
My family has ties to several freehold militias, as well as cousins acting as officers in Ferelden and Orlais.
And your qualifications?
My family holds treaties with 3 new money Tevinter houses, and a rare Orzuma contract with a Paragon namesake.
And your qualifications?
To be honest, your worship, that was my question. I am the nexus of a dozen threads tied by others, designed to cast the widest and most appealing resource net. But I will rise to the occasion. Skyhold will want for nothing. I swear it.
And that's why I hate networking. Okay. Yeah, what about the previous quartermaster?
The previous quartermaster survived Haven. Where is she?
She had views. Has views. Perfectly legitimate ones if you share them, Inquisitor.
Uh-huh.
I believe it was felt that your quartermaster should be more palatable now that the Inquisition is in Orlais. She continues to serve, just not at the fore.
So I guess we're now on the other side of the Frostbacks in Orlais. Is that where Skyhold is?
How's it going? Do we have what we need?
Our capacity increases, as do our requests to suppliers. I've had to threaten some contracts. It was exhilarating.
Alright, you have fun with that.
As you were.
We are here for you, Inquisitor.
Still have those 2 requisitions.
Of course.
What about the Fallow Mire?
Another
Have we
time.
done all of those? Or I guess, I don't know. Maybe we just stop grabbing them at some point. That could be it. We can always get more, though, if we need more power or influence. A letter home. Eustace. Not sure who that is, but okay. Oh, there's another set of steps upstairs. This is a tall building. Pamphlet, lift your voices. Inquisition. Oh my. Must be the soldiers' barracks up here, essentially. So that's the requisitions table, but I want the alchemist and all of that. It's Cassandra. They're probably all inside. Yeah. Is there like a garden over here? What's over here?
The spiderwebs help stop the bleeding, and they prevent wounds from getting infected. Gather as
Really?
many as you can. The strangest thing, though, I can't recall where I heard that. I think I remember a young man.
Might not be true. Or is this like the dungeon, or where? What is this place? Nothing here. Must be the dungeon. Yeah. Shame, it looks like a nice area up there with some trees and maybe some water.
With allies come enemies, and now we have a place to hold them.
Oh, lucky us. Yeah, is that water right here, or what? Whoa. Prison structural evaluation. Harder job this. Structural fractures throughout. Okay. I've seen failures like this before in dams, with the pressure of a flood behind them. What caused that in a prison this size, I don't want to know. So something did severe structural damage to this prison. Ah, it is a waterfall. That's pretty cool. Don't want to escape here, they'll just toss you in. Although if you did escape, and were a really good swimmer, might be able to try to escape that way. Wonder who will be holding down here. Apparently nobody yet. Alright, well, good to know where this is in case I need to come down here at some point. For now, though, I want to go inside.
Not so
This is a pretty nice
standards.
place.
That'll guide the dragon right in.
Alright, that's Varric over
Someone emptied
there.
a whole bag of turnips into the fire. Oh, make it, the smell is everywhere. I was going to use
Lots
them
of
for
people
dinner
in
and then...
here. Very decorative there. I don't know what that is. Sauron's all-seeing eye? A mage tower, probably. The hands, maybe? I don't know who that guy is. Request for resources on the Fade. I'm not going to read all that. I really want to, but there's just so many codex entries in this game that I could spend days and days and days doing that. And there's just so much else I want to do in this game. Oh, okay, now we're at the battlements. There's a quest over here, I guess? Well, let's pick that up while we're here, and then we'll go back inside and look for the crafting stuff there. Oh, Cullen, how have you been? Guess these are his offices. It's a nice place for an office.
Inquisitor, I've found where the Red Templars come from. Therenfall Redoubt. The Knights
Useful
were
intel?
fed red lyrium until they turned into monsters. Samson took over after their corruption was complete.
How do you know Samson?
He was a Templar in Kirkwall, until he was expelled from the Order. I knew he was an addict, but this... Red lyrium is nothing like the lyrium given by the Chantry. Its power comes with a terrible madness.
Well, it is like delirium, it's just much, much, much worse. Alright, so... I wonder if, like, if you side with the Templars, is there a mage from the first game who lives, who becomes kind of the leader of... Like, well, I don't know. See, I really like the idea that if you choose the mages, the Templars help Corypheus, but maybe the Red Templars help him no matter what. You can just side with the good Templars against them. I don't like that as much. I hope there are some, like, mages who go crazy if you don't help them and decide to join him and turn into abominations and stuff, but... Alright, you sure we can use it?
Samson's armor was glowing with the stuff. He'll go mad soon enough.
He seemed clear-eyed at Haven. Even so, the deluded commander is no less worrisome. The Red Templars still require lyrium. If we find their source, we can weaken them and their leader.
That's true, there's red lyrium everywhere in the future, but in these times, there are only a few caches.
I like finding the Red Templars' vulnerabilities before fighting them head-on.
We'll need every advantage against what courses through their veins. Caravans of red lyrium are being smuggled along trade roads. Investigating them could lead to where it's being mined.
Makes sense to
If
me.
you confront them, be wary. Anything connected to Samson will be well guarded.
It also seems too like the choices in most conversations are still kind of diplomatic, clever, and aggressive, but they're just not labeling them as such. Not always, but in some cases. Alright, I think we've been over there before.
When
What's
I
up here?
reached down, my dagger was gone. Just gone. Know where I found it? In a barrel. The thing was filled to the brim with daggers. Got the strangest feeling. I know someone took it right off my belt, but I can't recall who.
Cole. I was thinking that even when his story was first starting. Alright, so this is Yeah, Cullen really has a nice gig up here, doesn't he? He's got his own bedroom. Air conditioning. Whoop, I didn't mean to hit that. But since I did, screenshot. Alright. That actually happened to me in, what was I doing? I think I was playing SWTOR. And I hit that, whoop! Okay, I'm okay. Guess you can't take damage here, really. And I hit the button, and like in my chat, a bunch of random characters start appearing. Oh no, menus start opening, that's what it was. It was SWTOR, yeah. Alright, let's go back this way. Because some of those keys that the letters represent open different menus. This would make a good like boss level too, or like you have to fight your way through the whole castle to get to the commander. Anyway,
What
Solus.
is this place? So much room for whatever was here.
Indeed. I do wonder who built this. I guess the Fereldans, but why?
Hello.
Hi. A new conversation tree.
I need to know more about Corypheus.
We spoke of this on our travels to Skyhawk. What more can I tell you? Cassandra and Varric seem more familiar with their adversary.
You're a mage. You studied the breach. And you seem to have some idea how a bastard like this might think.
No
I'm
offense.
flattered. I claim no secret wisdom, but I will guess as best I can.
I would like to know more about the orb he carries.
As I said, that must be the means by which he created the breach. I suspect the blast that destroyed the Conclave was more accident than anything. The result of unlocking power that had sought release for ages. What I cannot understand is how he managed to survive such an explosion.
So I guess it was... The location was definitely important, because it seems like that was a supply of that lyrium. As was mentioned in Origins. Which may be red lyrium now, I guess. I don't know if it was always red lyrium, or if it just became red lyrium because of whatever else is at the root of all this. But... Was the time just random and he happened to do it while the Conclave was there? Or more likely he figured what better time to do it than at the Conclave and kill a bunch of leaders of Ferelden and Orlais and the Chantry in one fell blow. I'm guessing he wouldn't be very fond of the Chantry since the Tevinters have their own Chantry, separate from the one headquartered in Orlais. That is a good question, though, how he survived it.
You said that you believed the orb is elven.
I never would have believed a Tevinter mage could unlock such a powerful relic. It clearly enhances his abilities, giving him access to power he should never have known.
Like the power to control the archdemon.
Indirectly, one assumes. Nothing in any law connects my people to the old god dragons who became archdemons.
There was one theory that went around that the elven gods became the old gods because they were similar in number. And, yeah, same idea, two different pantheons. But I think Bioware actually confirmed, I think David Gator himself might have actually said that it's a good theory, but they're actually not one and the same.
What do you think Corypheus will do next?
You shamed him when you destroyed Haven. Spoiled his glorious victory. It would be worse to acknowledge that you had done so. He must continue on his course or show weakness. He will return to his plans to throw Orlais into chaos, and then conquer it for Tevinter.
But he really wants to find a means to break into heaven. And I want to know, like, he had the breach open, but he needed the mark to ascend into it? Is that what went wrong? So he's going to do it again and try to make his own mark, his own anchor, I suppose.
You're sure that's what he'll do?
As certain as is possible. Assuming I can plausibly predict a man who seeks to rise to godhood.
And can you?
The key is understanding this. No real god need prove himself. Anyone who tries is mad or lying. His deception will undo him, as it has done countless fools before.
What can you tell me about the source of Corypheus's power?
According to the law, the ancient Magistars of Tevinter received guidance from the old gods. Corypheus commands a false archdemon, a corrupted old god. This suggests he no longer sees himself as their minion. Some of his unique power comes from the corruption of the Blight. The rest may come from the orb he carries.
Yeah, he's definitely a powerful mage in his own right, but he's also a darkspawn and can draw magic from there. And then he has this orb. See, I do really hope it's not one of the last two archdemons, but he did say false archdemon. So, we'll see. Anything else about the Fade?
What do you know about the Fade?
I think we already asked
A
all
great deal
these.
from my wanderings. There are few hard facts, but I can share what I've learned.
Yeah, I think we already know all that stuff. It's not clicking. There we go.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Alright, so somewhere around here are some other... What's that? Oh, the ladder. Is there something up there, though? There is. Thought I saw 2 dots glowing there. The rotunda and the fresco. I made a thorough examination of the fresco adorning the rotunda. I first attempted to clarify its intent with Messer Solus. Skyhold is her fortress, meaning of course the Inquisitor. These are her actions. The subject of each edition is self-evident. On the medium and method, it is elven fresco, pigment, plaster, and it is grand. So did he make it then? I guess he's making this. I hope so. Hopefully he'll keep making it as we go. Is this the destruction of the... Oh. DirectX error here. That's not good. That's not good at all. Alright, well, lots of errors this episode, but I'll be right back again. Alright, sorry about that. We're back now. Between my cold, the staticky thing we had, and now the DirectX thing, this has just not been my day for playing Dragon Age, but we're going to persist, because I'm having a lot of fun right now, and things are really starting to get interesting. So let's talk to... Well, we already talked to Solus, didn't we? Did we get that thing before the autosave? We did not. And yeah, thank the maker for autosave, because it's the second time this episode has saved me. So... okay, he's using the honorific there. Alright. So let's go down and inspect this. So this is... Yeah, that's the mountain. And that's the blast that created the breach. All the eyes, that's cool. This is... the formation of the Inquisition, I suppose? With wolves around. I did kill wolves at a couple points. Is that a mage, or is that Red Cliff Castle? Not entirely sure. I like the idea, though, that depending on your choice in the game, this mural becomes different. There's still like half the room left. I guess enough for 8 pieces in total, and we have 4 done already. Maybe this means I sided with the mages? Not entirely sure. Not sure what that one is either. But I do like the idea of painting this room as we go. Alright, so I guess the next level up. I was thinking it looked like there was something up there. I didn't think we'd actually be able to access it, and yet we can. Dorian, how have you been? Haven't talked to you too much.
Brilliant, isn't it?
The
One
painting,
moment you're
or-
trying to restore order in a world gone mad. That should be enough for anyone to handle, yes? Then, out of nowhere, an archdemon appears and kicks you in the head. What? You thought this would be easy? No, I was just hoping you wouldn't crush our village like an anthill. Sorry about that. Archdemons like to crush, you know. Can't be helped. Am I speaking too quickly for you?
Quickly isn't the word for it.
The attack was unexpected. We're all rattled.
I'm not rattled. I'm the hero of this tale.
Then why isn't Corypheus after you?
Good point. Does that make me a lackey? That's dangerous work. I always assumed the Elder One behind the Venatori was a Magister. But this is something else completely.
He is a Magister.
In Tevinter, they say the Chantry's tales of Magisters starting the Blight are just that. Tales. But here we are. One of those very Magisters. A dark spawn.
Who does the Imperium say started the Blight?
You know how it is. Not us. They say Darkspawn were always there. Magisters and the Blight aren't even related. Is that a surprise? No one wants to admit they shit the bed. But if Corypheus is one of the Magisters who entered the Black City and he's Darkspawn, what other explanation is there?
Why does that make you angry?
Because the Imperium is my home. I knew what I was taught couldn't be the whole truth, but I assumed there had to be a kernel of it, somewhere. But no, it was us all along. We destroyed the world.
Well, your distant ancestors, not necessarily you personally. I'm gonna go with this one.
So you'll just
Maybe
stand here and
disapprove,
whine
but
about
okay.
it then?
I know. Maybe I'll personally go south and stop Alexius before his plan succeeds. Wait! I already did that! No one will thank me whatever happens. No one will thank you either. You know that, yes?
That's not why I'm doing this.
I knew there was something clever about you. All I know is this. Corypheus needs to be stopped. Men like him ruined my homeland. I won't stand by and let him ruin the world.
Well, I like the world too, so that's something we do have in common. His armor is very shiny.
Oh, and congratulations on that whole leading the Inquisition thing, by the way.
Thanks. Anything else?
The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Halamsharal? Cows milking farmers?
I take it you don't agree.
On the contrary, I approve. Heartily.
To say, I thought you would.
I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to, well, be like mages back home.
Lots of flirt options. As long as they're like you. See, it's still hard for me to think about what her feelings are like to Vinter. Because she is very pro-mage, but I'm not sure she's really a fan of the way things work into Vinter with all the blood magic and whatnot.
I don't believe that.
It's true. The conditions here are different. Southern mages aren't used to ruling. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed. By inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
If charming and well-dressed means slightly crazy and very shiny, then okay.
Let's move on, shall we?
I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams.
Lucky you.
Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family.
Unlucky.
We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium.
Must have a high opinion of himself.
I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
It just seems... So much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages.
Sort of like ancient Rome.
Despite appearances, we care deeply about everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Or have lots of kids, just in case.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home.
I imagine
not.
not.
That it matters. I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years.
Almost literally.
I'm sure some magisters would disagree. But that's why we kill them.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
So many different questions.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
Ah, because of my magic training. I think I should probably start getting the other training perks as well, because they give XP, and there are a lot of codex entries in this game.
Corypheus is a figure out of Tevinter history. He was a magister.
That's right.
Yes,
is there reference
but
to
that
him?
was a different time. The Imperium's power was at its peak then. The Civil War had ended. The Magisterium was united, its armies scooping up bits of Thedas like candy. The Magisters who entered the Black City. It was a demonstration of how exceptional Tevinter had become.
But who were they?
No one knows. There's no record of a Magister named Corypheus. All this happened 1,400 years ago, before the Blight nearly wiped us out. There are no records. Today, people half believe it's all just a story. That's what I believed.
We have evidence the story is very much real.
But not who Corypheus is. If he even remembers. There used to be families who claimed some of those Magisters as their own. That stopped when the Chantry appeared. Then it was shameful, and the families distanced themselves from the tale. All we know is that some men and women entered the Black City looking for the old gods. What did they find? According to Corypheus, nothing. And only he could tell us more.
I'm interested to hear more about this. Like when he says the throne of the gods was empty, is there literally a throne in the middle of the Black City that was empty, or is that just a metaphor for that they got there and there were no gods there?
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
Strange? Why are you less qualified to rule than some tart with a fancy crown? Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
Mm-hmm. It's like
What
their
is
Senate,
the
right?
Magisterium, exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on.
So there's a lower house too.
Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
If you're not a magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later. Lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new Magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Well, just like that everybody could be rich, I guess.
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically. The potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
Alright, I guess I'm probably just going to keep talking for the rest of this episode and get to know these people a little better. Because I am curious to know more about the Imperium and a lot of the topics that these people have been mentioning.
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry.
Like an anti-pope.
Or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
How many circles do they have? Because there's only apparently 14 in all of Thedas.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers.
They don't use lyrium.
Ha! As if there'd be any left for them. They
Good
watch
point.
for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the Magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Would definitely be an interesting place to visit in a future game.
Do you really
Even to have a
call
game
him
set
the
there.
Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the Sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah blah blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
So, the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the Sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
A lot like the real Catholic Church, although at least here there's a branch which is only female and a branch which is only male, as opposed to simply just one branch, or two branches as there were in the Middle Ages, both of them all male.
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
Being a Dalish, I think she would definitely agree with that.
I share your opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
Oh, thanks.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You saw that in the future, without you, Corypheus prevails. You are our bulwark against evil.
Well, for all we know right now, with me, Corypheus prevails as well, but we'll see. Yeah, I guess I'll agree with that. I don't want her to sound arrogant, but there's not really. Well, let's go with this one.
You don't seem like the religious sort, to be honest.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering hen tell you how to live, then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists, then yes, by all means. The world is bigger than I. Even bigger than you.
Even bigger than you?
It
What is that
laughs
supposed
at
to
all
mean?
the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe. But I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Well, according to Corypheus, that's exactly what's going on. In fact, according to the Chantry, the Maker has turned his back as well.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
That was it, wasn't it? No, there's a couple more Tevinter questions.
I'm wondering if the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't, of course. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many Magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
It would be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what, 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
We're not part of the Chantry. The Chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
Yep. Definitely all makes sense.
Just how often is blood magic used there?
We knew that from Fenris.
Not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion, too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. And most of them probably innocent.
There must be some mages who oppose
Like the
this.
Salem witches, I guess.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a magister who makes noise, and then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah. That is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
Yeah, I think she'd be, especially because many slaves are elves, she'd be vehemently against that.
That's it. You don't question it.
In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves
We have that here too, but they get paid. They're
true.
called servants.
But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
Is that what you call it? Treated poorly?
Abuse heaped upon those without power isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him before
Is
they
he?
locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I realize it's now your job to judge him. All I ask is, if you do, show him mercy.
Oh, that must be the
He hardly
prisoner
deserves
quest.
it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew.
Lots of codex entries too. Alright, Fiona, how are you? I don't want to talk to her too long, but the veil.
Greetings, Inquisitor. That is your title now, yes? I should thank you. The way things ended in Redcliffe, you could have demanded anything you wished. Yet you chose to make us equal partners. I was not expecting that.
You rebelled for good reason.
I knew you, of all people, would understand. Huh. I've been a Grey Warden, Grand
Really?
Enchanter, leader of a rebellion, and now I am none of those things.
Didn't know you were a warden?
Odd where fate takes you, as you're no doubt well aware.
Wow, my mind is just suddenly blown. Grand Enchanter Fiona. She's a character in The Calling. In fact, I hope I'm not confusing her with somebody else. I'm pretty sure this is actually Alistair's mom. I never put two and two together that this is that Fiona. I think her name was Fiona. I've got to look that up now. I'm really, really curious. But that would... Yeah, you were a Grey Warden?
You were once a Grey Warden.
Mine is an unusual circumstance, Inquisitor. Normally one is part of the Order until death. But long ago I found myself stripped of what made me a Warden. They tried to reinitiate me, but nothing worked. Nor could they figure out how it happened.
Blood.
So I was sent to the Circle of Magi, the first Warden ever to be kicked
I don't remember
out.
how that actually happens in the book.
Quite the achievement.
You sound happy about it.
Becoming a warden seemed like a dream when I was first conscripted. Towards the end, however, my brothers and sisters, they felt I had somehow cheated death. I was glad to leave. It also made me unique in the circle. I had an opportunity to do more than I ever could as a warden.
You mean you began the Mage Rebellion?
I pushed for our vote to free the circles of Magi, but I cannot claim sole responsibility for what followed. Still, despite all the chaos, I would do it again. What happened had to happen.
You're not still the Grand Enchanter then?
Any claim I had to the title ended along with the circles of Magi, although some still call me by it. Perhaps the circles will one day be resurrected. If so, another will take the position. Until that time, I lead my fellow mages by default. I will do what I can for them.
Yeah, it would explain why the Grand Enchanter is an elf if she's that Fiona. Huh. I really like that though, that they made that character so important to the lore of Thedas, and she would be older now, about the age she seems to be.
You believe they'll recreate the Circle of Magi after all this?
It depends on who the next divine is, and what she offers. We can't go back to the way things were. But endless warfare benefits no one. That is why I agreed to Justinia's conclave. There must be another solution.
I've been meaning to ask, how exactly did the Venatori take control in Redcliffe?
Mages constantly found their way to us while we were there. Stragglers, most of them strangers. I had no way of knowing some were actually Tevinter. They spread whispers, encouraged talk of an alliance, and we were desperate. I'm not proud of our choice, but we were certain Templars were coming. It could have ended far worse.
I still want to know who that false Fiona was.
I'll leave you to it.
Before you go, Inquisitor, a question. In Redcliffe, after we left, did you perhaps speak with King Alistair? Considering who you are?
He wasn't in the mood to talk.
It's just that I knew his father,
Yeah.
Marek, back when I was a warden.
Not only knew his father, knew his father.
And what? You were hoping that would patch things up with him?
No, it's too late for that. I only wanted to know if he was happy. His father had such hopes for him. Don't mind me, Inquisitor. The concerns of an old woman. Nothing more.
Yeah, it's definitely that Fiona then. Oh, that's so cool. How did I not put that together before now? But yeah, this is Alistair's mom. I know they imply that the, what do they imply? That it was one of the maids, I think. Goldania, whatever her name was, her mom. The cleaning lady in House Redcliffe or something like that. But that was actually just a cover, that an elf was his real mom. I think David Gator even confirmed that when people were wondering which of the two versions was true after the first game came out. Anyway, I think that's probably a good note to end it on. We haven't talked to Vivienne yet either. We haven't... So many people. Okay. Lots to do here in Skyhold still, but, oh, another book. The Folly of General Not Sheraton. Huh. But, yeah, I'm going to end this episode here, come back, and hopefully finish doing everything we need to do in Skyhold so that we can get back out, probably head to the Storm Coast next, and do some more adventuring. I will see you guys then.